appreciate it. We all appreciate it. It's always wonderful to see you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I always love to come here and hang out with you all.
Well, I was thinking earlier, we've known each other for 12 years now.
That is true. You covered me at all
All of your
hopefully
Olympics.
4 Olympics,
Exactly.
3 so far. Yeah, they're ready for number 4.
Yeah, and it has been such an honor and a privilege to share your story with the world over all those years. It started back in 2008, right?
Yes.
It was your first Olympics, Beijing, and then we went to London together in 2012, and then of course 2016 in Rio when you won that gold medal. By the way, one of the most thrilling moments for me in all of the time that I have covered the Olympics was being in that stadium that night watching you win that medal. And now you're trying to go to Tokyo. How's your training going?
Well, training for my 4th Olympic game is definitely different from all of them. I take each Olympic year differently because I have different challenges that year, different things I'm trying to accomplish, even though the goal is the same, is to win. But now it's like, okay, we're fine-tuning my technique, trying to iron out some things that I wanted to do all these years, but this year we're really focusing on them because it's going to be more important than they were before, because as you get older, things change. But I feel like the victories are in the details.
So I know you're headed to training after this.
Yes.
What is your training regimen like these days?
Training for me, I wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, then I get ready to go throw for about a couple of hours, and then I'll head to the weight room for about 2 hours, and then I'll do some cardio, some abs. I go to Pilates. I also, and I get a massage. That is part of my training because you work out these muscles. I have to keep them healthy and smooth and working properly with a massage once a week.
And then Olympic trials for you are in June, right?
Yes, they are at the end of June. I believe I compete at the Olympic trials on June 25th.
So the Olympic trials actually happen very close to the actual Olympics. You won't know until then, until that you actually make the team.
Yes, we always say with track and field that our Olympic team is the hardest team to make. We're pretty much the last team chosen because we want to get our athletes by the time they're close to their peak to get ready for the Olympic Games, because with track and field, it's not like you're on a team and you can train. You're training by yourself. We train all over the country, and you want to make sure that you're pretty much at the point where you're about to be at your best for the year. So about a month out, we always have our Olympic trials prior to our Olympic Games, so we can pick the very best athletes for our team.
I want to ask you to take us back to the very beginning. Talk to us about growing up in Red Oak and how you became involved in shot put.
Yeah, so I started throwing when I was in 7th grade. I had just transferred to public school from private school, and I remember they asked me like, "Hey Michelle, you should try out for the track team." And at first I was like, no, because who don't like to run? It's me. But then she said, well, you can throw. I was like, okay, I'll try that. So I go home, I tell my dad, I say, hey Dad, they want me to try out for the track team. Can I try out? And he started asking me all these questions, like who asked you, what they say, which coach said it, like what exactly did she say? And I'm looking at my dad like, why are you asking me all these questions? Like, I don't know what's going on. Can I go, yes or no? And he told me, he said, well, if I let you do this, you don't know what you're getting yourself into, but I want to make sure you learn this right so you can be your best at it. And practice starts tomorrow in the driveway. So he was not playing with me then. But at that time, I grew up with my dad playing football because he played with the San Francisco 49ers for 9 years. And then in 84 is when he won silver in shot put. And I was born in 85. So I had no idea what was going on. So he knew that people had expectations on me if I started to do the same sport that he did. But he wanted to make sure that it was something that I wanted to do and that no one was pushing me to do it because they know what he had accomplished.
So you heard that correctly. Her dad won the silver medal in 1984 in Los Angeles in shot put. And your dad still holds the Texas high school record, is that correct?
No, he still holds the national high
US
school.
record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's going to be the world high school record. He's thrown 81 feet 3 inches in high school. And
think about that, 81 feet.
Yeah, it's really far. And I think the closest someone ever has been to that record was 77 feet.
It's one of those records that in the athletic world, people think might never be broken.
Yeah.
That's how incredible her dad's record is. Talk to me a little bit more about the relationship that you have with your dad. He's your dad, obviously,
Yeah.
and he's also your coach. How does Coach Dad work?
I call him Coach Daddy. He always tells me, try to separate me. I'm your coach today. I'm like, okay, Daddy. He's like, call me Coach. I'm like, okay, Coach Daddy. Like, I don't know what else to call you because he was my dad first. So it's a difficult relationship at times because my dad gets on my nerves. But I love him very much, and I respect him as a coach. And in the beginning, it didn't always happen that way because he's pushing me because he sees something in me, and me as an athlete, but first his daughter is like, you know what, like this is too much. But then over time, he kept telling me, like, you can be really good at this. You can do this. Like, you can do that. I see you throwing this far. And in the beginning, I didn't believe him. But then over time, with him pushing me and keep telling me what I was capable of doing, I started to believe what he was teaching me, what he was telling me. And then I think that's when our relationship changed, when I really believed that, okay, what you're telling me is true. I can do this, and you're only pushing me because you want me to be my best. And I feel like that's when I gained more respect for my dad as a coach. And I'm not just someone just telling me what to do like he would as my dad, but he has spent so much time in this sport, even though after 1984 he was done with track and field because you couldn't be, at that time, track and field was still amateur. You couldn't get paid for it. But when he moved on, like, shot put is still his first love. And he's always said he went to football because it pays more.
I want to talk a little bit more about your Olympic journey. 2008, Beijing, that was your first Olympics, and you finished 15th, is that correct? And then London was next, 2012, and it was, how did, 5th?
Well, it was originally 6th.
Okay.
But then the very next day, the girl who had won first was caught with a doping situation. So then she was taken out the equation, and then I moved up to 5th. But then in 2016, they ran some more tests to find out that I am no longer 5th at the 2012 Olympic Games. I am now 4th in the 2012 Olympic Games. So I'm just waiting for one more person.
And then you get your medal in the mail, right?
I'll get my medal. I'm fine with that. You know, I'll wait. I'm very patient.
It's actually, it's a really interesting story because we've talked about this throughout your Olympic career. You've had to confront this issue of other athletes doping, but you have a really incredible philosophy about it.
Yeah, like I can control what they do. The only person I can control is me, and I believe in the system that what's done in the dark will come to light. So one girl got caught the very next day, and one got caught 4 years later. And so I'm like, you know what? Why put my energy worried about what someone else is doing, if they're cheating or not, when it's going to come to light? But all I can do is control what I do my very best. And for that, I knew that I would be placed higher. It was just a matter of time. But I just focus on myself, making sure I'm my very best, because I want to beat you if you're cheating or not. On my best day, I want to be better than you if you're on drugs or whatever you decide to do that day. I still want to be my best and be better than you on that day. So I don't concern myself with that. I do believe in being clean and taking care of my body properly and putting the right things into my body. But only thing I can control is myself, and that's what I tend to focus on. Otherwise, if I'm worried about what everybody else is doing all the time, it takes away from what I'm trying to do for myself.
So Rio, 2016, I was in the stadium that night, and it was electric. And it was your last throw, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Michelle steps up for her last throw. Walk us through it.
So I've been working on something in practice this whole time, and it's a timing issue. It's like I had to be patient in the middle of the ring to let my legs work a little bit longer so I can create more power through the shot put. And all I need is a half a second. Like, how long is a half a second? You don't really know, but I just needed to wait just a little bit longer to create a little bit more power. So as I'm getting ready for this last throw, I'm like, okay, Michelle, you're in second. And I'm like, it's okay, at least you get a medal. But then I'm like, okay, no, Michelle, we don't want second. My dad has silver, I need to get gold. So I just remember going in the ring and saying to myself, like, Michelle, you got this. And I did say a quick prayer real quick. I'm like, Lord, this is it. If you don't show up right now, like, we're going to have to talk about this. But I knew that I had the capability to throw further. So when I stepped into the ring, I just remember taking a deep breath, and I'm like, it's time to go. So I throw, and it felt better than all my other throws. And that's when I knew I did something different that I've been trying to do this whole time. I wish it would have came a little earlier, but it came right in time. And I knew it felt better, so I was like, yes, okay, I felt good. Now I just have to wait to see what the mark says. And it probably only took like 45 seconds, but I swear it felt like 5 minutes waiting to see what the mark was going to say. And then when it came up, it said 20 meters, 63, and then it had a number 1 by my name. And I was like, what? Like, I'm in first place? But how our competitions go, when you're going into the finals, the person who's in first gets the last throw, because they go in ascending order. And I just had to like wait and keep my cool because I didn't want to celebrate too much and then give her a reason to throw far. So I'm like, I'm going to act like that's supposed to happen that way. I'm just going to wait to see how she responds. And so I remember everybody's like watching her in the ring. And I'm standing by and she throws. And I'm like, I think that may not be further, but I can't really tell from where we're standing, so I have to wait. Which probably only took another 45 seconds again, but it felt longer. And then when her name went up with her mark, she had a number 2 by her name. And that's when I knew for sure that I won the Olympic Games. And the first thing I could think was like, really? Like, this is how this story plays out? Because you dream about like having your victory a certain kind of way. You want it to play out in this way, and it's going to be this great story. But it didn't turn out exactly how I thought, but it still happened. But I was just so grateful that I stayed the course, that I never gave up, because I had reasons to give up. I had a back injury earlier that year that did set me back, but it was like the perfect setback for the perfect comeback. And I just was so grateful for everything in that moment, and just like the people who supported me, my family, friends, and just the opportunity to even experience this and say that I was able to do this.
And what is it like to stand at the top of the podium and hear the national anthem and see the flag go up and have that medal around your neck?
It still doesn't feel real. And I've had the medal for 4 years now almost. And it's just thinking like they're playing the national anthem because of me. I stood there while they played other people's national anthems, and I stood there for my teammates when they played the national anthem for somebody else. But this time, I'm the reason why they're playing the national anthem. And it just felt good to know that I had this dream, and then I was able to accomplish it. But not on my first round, not on my second round. It took 3 rounds of going to the Olympic Games to win, and just having that capability when people don't even have a chance to make 1 team. And I was able to make 3 and believed in myself so much, and had a wonderful support team that believed in me and supported me along the way to get there. It was just an amazing feeling that this medal is not just mine, but it's everybody who believed in me and everybody who started to believe in themselves when they saw me accomplish something that I accomplished.
So 3 Olympic Games. 3 Olympic Games and a gold medal. What's left for you? Why are you still pushing for 1 more?
I wouldn't mind getting another medal, that's always good. But I know I could do more. I knew when I competed in 2016, I wasn't 100% where I wanted to be, because I was coming back from injury. And even though things got a little bit worse after that, I ended up having to have surgery on my knee, dealing with some other things. But it was like, I know I have more in me to give. And I just want to see how far I can actually go. Will it bring me another medal? I don't know. I hope it does. But I do believe I have more to give, and I want to see how far I can get with it.
Will you make us so proud?
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. Are we ready for questions?
I have one. So after so many years of doing this now, there's the breaks in between the Olympics. How do you tweak, or how do you keep getting back to that place where you can perform at that level, and what are you doing differently? How do you decide what to do differently?
Well, yeah, for track and field, we call it the 4-year cycle, because the year before the Olympics and the year after the Olympics, we have world championships. So it's not like we're sitting around doing anything. We have a full track season, and then on the non-Olympic year, we have world championship year. But then there's 1 year in between the 2 world championships where we don't have a major championship. You just have a season where you're just competing. So for me, I just take each year to get better, knowing that the Olympics is, of course, the ultimate goal. But instead of looking what I'm going to do in 4 years, what I'm going to do this year, and then this year, what I'm going to do next year, and try to build on top of those years. Because I know coming from 2012, it was a building year. It's like, how far can I get in 2012? Okay, this is what happened in 2012. What can I do to make 2013 better? Then we get to 13, and maybe it's like 14, and that's how I kind of break it down so that it doesn't feel so long and so big, and just focus on the year and how can I just get better each year.
And are those tweaks just, I'm going to step to the left more, or what kinds of little tweaks are you making?
Well, tweaks is like, one, for us, is getting stronger. Strength plays a big role in that. Also, as throwing isn't a natural movement, the more you can do it, the better. So it's like I have to learn this motor pattern and keep it fresh in my mind, and then also tweak it to where we call, it's a scientific term called torque, is where you can create this power, and how I create torque is turning my lower body going forward and trying to keep my upper body back to create this almost like snap effect for the throws. So if I can create more power there between my upper body and lower body, that's how I create power. So just tweaking those little things and maybe getting a little bit lower so I can have more room to work with going up. Like, those things are what I'm working on in between time. That's a good question.
You always look fabulous when you're out there. Hair, nails, makeup. I know that's important to you. Why?
I believe looking good is important because, like how everybody else gets dressed for work, I get dressed for work. It just attracts me. So I'll do my hair, my nails, my makeup, but that's always been my theme before I walk out the house. And when I first started throwing or just going anywhere, I want to look my best because I really believe in when you look good, you feel good, you do good. Like, it's one thing when you walk out the house knowing you're put together versus the days when you walk out the house in sweatpants and you're not feeling your best. And it's almost like you can always psych the mind a little bit when you know you look good and you feel confident in yourself, because you know that no matter what anybody says, like, I know I look good today. And I feel like that's just like the number one building block for anything that you do, and building that confidence in yourself is just take care of yourself. Do what makes you feel good and what makes you look good, so when you walk out the door, can't nobody tell you anything because you already set that truth for yourself. Any questions? Chris?
And my question is a couple of parts. I've held that shot that you throw, and I couldn't throw it to her. In most sports, you have to practice as hard as you play in the game. But in yours, do you have to hold back a little bit because yours is so strenuous? And you know what you were when you won. Are you better now?
Okay. Question number one. I won't say hold back, because I feel like when you're working on different things, there's a way to go about it. I never throw as far as in practice as I do in the track meet. I'm just not one of those throwers. Some people always throw further in practice than they do in meets. I feel like it should always be the opposite. But sometimes if I take off, it's not taking off the power to not throw far, because I'm working on a part of my technique. So if I'm trying to work on some timing issues, I might have to slow it down. If I slow it down, it's going to naturally take away some power from that. So it kind of depends, but I always kind of rev it up towards the end of the season where I'm trying to go 100%, while like I'm in a competition, just so I can kind of work on that timing a little bit more. But for me, I can never get to that same hypeness that you'll get from a competition in practice. That's hard to get. But I try to put myself in little situations to mentally push myself in practice as I get ready for the competition. And then number two, I would say I'm in a different place, you know? I'll be 35 this year, so things are just different. And what I have to work on this year is different than what I had to focus on any other year. And just taking it day by day, year by year, is how I do it. I try not to compare, well, this is what I did in 16, so I have to do this again in 2020. I'm not the same person that I was in 2016 and I am in 2020. So there's some things I know I could probably take away from that and implement, but there's some things that I do have to change because I'm not walking in the same body.
Chris and I spent time with you this summer at your summer camp.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time with young women.
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Yeah, so I have my camp called Youth Throw Girl Sports Confidence Camp, and I just remember getting a lot of questions from parents about how are you so confident as an athlete? And when they really meant by that, being a plus size athlete. Because when most people think about athletes, they think about people with six packs and like muscles all over the place, and I'm not that person. I'll be happy with the one pack, you know. But knowing that, and on the male side, different body types as an athlete is accepted. On the women's side, not so much. There's high standards for a female athlete. But a female athlete comes in all different sizes. If Gabby Douglas was built like me, she couldn't flip in the air the way that she does. And Gabby Douglas if I was built like Gabby, I couldn't throw the shot put the way that I do. So everybody's body was created to do something. And you have to figure out what that something is going to work for you and your body type. And that's one thing I wanted to help encourage these young athletes, especially as they're growing into young women, their bodies are going through all kinds of things. But I want them to know that they are created to do something great. And I wanted to kind of be an example of how and what they can do and help them just figure it and navigate that, knowing that there's somebody who looks like you, built like you, is doing great things and you can do it too. And I got those comments from parents all the time, and I definitely was like, hey, you know what, there's a need for this. And I wanted to put something together that I can help those young female athletes, because everybody don't have the same support system that I had. And some parents who didn't play sports have kids that play sports, and they're like, I don't know what to do with her. And I'm able to be that support for them to help encourage them and also encourage their daughters to be their best in any sport that they're doing.
Questions? I'm just curious, to be able to be motivated for that long of a stretch of time through all the trials and everything you've been through, what do you think it is within you that has kept you so focused on the goal?
Just knowing I can be better than I was yesterday. And it's not always a big jump, it's just a little bit better. Like, how can I be a little bit better, and do I have the room to improve? Because I feel like we all kind of know when we maxed out in one area versus when we know we still have room to improve. And for me, there's some things I know that I can improve on. And I just want to just get a little bit better. I don't think I've maxed out my athletic capabilities yet. I still believe I have room to improve and room to grow. So I just want to see how far I can push it. And I believe I still have that room to grow.
So when will you know about this year? For the Olympics?
Oh, after the Olympic trials.
After the trial, but when is that?
June 25th, I'll know for sure. You got to finish in the top 3 to make the Olympic team.
Sort of two questions. What does the training aspect for yourself look like throughout the course of a day? And then you were talking about diet. Like, does your diet change from an Olympic year versus a non-Olympic year? And what does that look like?
Well, the diet thing, you know, I'm human, but actually that's the new component for me this year that I really have to focus on, that I didn't have to focus on before. Around 2010, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So therefore, it slows down my metabolism and just jacks up everything in my body, hair, skin, nails. You have all kind of issues with that. And being an athlete, not having control of your body, that was hard for me. Because I'll wake up, and I'm expected to wake up at 100%, but with hypothyroidism, I would wake up with 40%, 60%, and whatever I have for the day is all I have. And I was going to doctors, I went to the specialist to kind of help figure it out. So we've been at a place for a few years where my hormones have leveled out and I can manage it better. But now, during that course of time, I gained over 100 pounds. And I could never lose it. It's just been really hard to have gained all this weight, being this athlete and as active as I am, and I can't lose it. So now the missing piece, I know for sure, is working on my diet. And that's something I've never really talked about, because as throwers, we can get away with not eating the best, because we can have on that extra weight, and then by the time you get back training, you can, run off and train off the weight that you gained in the off season. But each year, it was like I was just gaining more and more weight all of a sudden. And I just came to the realization not too long ago that this is what I have to do for this year that's going to be different than any other year. So that's going to change how I kind of live my life, because I like to be on the go. I'll stop at Whataburger in a minute. Like, it's cool if we go get a hamburger and go on about our day. But now I'm in the position where my diet has directly affected my health. And being more conscious about what I'm putting in my body, because my body is a Ferrari. I'm an elite athlete. So what I do and the energy that I need for my body is more important now than ever. So, pray for your girl. It's a struggle. But I know it's possible, and not just for me to be a great athlete, but for me to be my best, period. Because whatever I learn about my body during this journey, I'm going to have to carry for the rest of my life. And that's something that I have, I'm going to be more open about, because it's real, and people struggle with how they fuel their body no matter what they do, if you're an athlete or not. How we fuel ourselves has a direct correlation to how we feel about ourselves. So that's something that I've been, that's been on my heart to do as of recently. And so I'm glad you brought it up, because it's something that I have to get used to talking about. But it's, being vulnerable is not easy. But I feel like it's necessary for yourself to grow and then to help others to grow. And so also for training, I will throw for about 2 hours. And then and when I throw, I'll do like jog, warm up, stretch, some agilities, and then I'll actually throw. I'm going to start adding some sprints in a little bit. And then I'll go to the weight room, and I'll probably spend about 2 hours there. When I'm done, I find to try to do about 30 minutes of cardio and do some abs along the way. So anywhere between 4 to 6 hours a day is what I spend working out.
Now, when you're doing those exercises in the weight room, are there particular workouts that you're focused on?
For me, like, my legs is my powerhouse. So I do a lot of legs, and I do a good amount of upper body. And what connects the dot is my core. So building up my core strength is what helps transfer that power from the bottom to the top.
During the 2016 Rio Olympics, there were health concerns about the Zika virus. Are there any concerns among Olympic athletes about the coronavirus and the potential threat it has?
Of course, there's going to be concerns, because it is something that has had not a good effect on people. It's been a serious issue that they had to address. But I'm very confident that they're going to figure out how to get it under control, because I know the Japanese are very proud and in their culture and what they have to offer, and they spent a lot of time and effort getting ready for the Olympic Games. So I'm quite confident that they're going to do what they have to do to make sure that when we get there, that everybody's going to be safe, not just the athletes, but the spectators. And so they did the same thing in Rio. We went through all the precautions, and we had all the mosquito sprays and everything. But the good thing, it was winter by the time we got there, so there weren't as many mosquitoes around. And so I do believe that it's on their list to make a high priority on their list to make sure that everybody's going to be healthy and safe during the Olympic Games.
One thing that is new for 2020, you're a married woman.
Yes.
Michelle got married. There's What's it like to have that man as a partner now in this journey?
Yes, I call him my forever plus one. It's like, I'm always bringing somebody with me. So it's great to know that you have someone who is always in your corner, who's always there to help you through the good, bad, and indifferent. I get on his nerves and he get on mine, but that's okay. That's part of life. But it's exciting to have someone with me in a way that I never had before. And he's not going anywhere, he's stuck.
Anyone else?
Yes, I have a question. Hello, welcome. I have a question because obviously you said that you want to win another medal, but it's more pressure when you already won an Olympic medal, when you are like heading to a new competition.
Yes, because you have a target on your back. Everybody's like, well, she won last year. We can't let her win again. But it doesn't bother me because that's what competition is for. That's supposed to happen. Like I always say, when people say, oh, someone got close to your record, I'm like, that's okay. Records are meant to be broken. So I know that during the Olympic year, anything can happen. I can win again, but someone we never heard of or thought about, was never on the radar, could win too. So I feel like each Olympic year, we all start off at a clean slate. Like you don't know who's going to be the champion until the champion is actually named. So that's how I deal with it, to not have all that pressure on me. Because of course I would like to win again, but it's the Olympic Games. Anything is possible. So I'm not going to count anybody out. I'm not going to assume that I'm going to win again, but I'm going to come back with my best game and go out there and go for my goal is to win again.
Do you watch your competition in the World Games and just keep up with who's doing what?
I keep up with people a little bit, not too much, because I really don't care. Because I know what I can do, and that's how I kind of I stay in my lane. Because it doesn't matter what you do or what they throw, because you could throw this and I'm not at the competition, but what are you going to do when I'm at the competition? We start, I feel like each competition, we're all right here. Who's going to step up today?
Probably this is a personal question, but besides having a rich husband, how do you survive economically as an athlete?
Yeah, so he asked me how I survive economically. I've been very blessed in my career because with track and field, they have come up with many different programs along the way to help those who don't have as much money or don't get the chance to earn as much money. And then I came in on a time where they have evened out the prize money for all events. Because we'll go to an event where the 100-meter runners might get $20,000 for first place, but then women's shot putters, the first place will get $2,000. But then now they did change the game to where first place at some meets are all $10,000. And it's all the same, men and women, everybody. And so that's helped a lot. But also, some of our smaller meets have died off to where you can go to these meets and get a few $1,000s here, a few $1,000s there. So I do have sponsors. Nike is one of my sponsors, as well as New York Athletic Club. They're a sponsor as well. But I also speak. So, you know somebody looking for a speaker, how can and that also has helped my income. I do a little bit of makeup as a professional makeup artist. I don't do it as much as I would like, but that also helps. And I do appearances, and then also with my camp, even though we're brand new, that does help. And I'll do private lessons for kids from time to time to kind of help with the income. But most of my income does come from my Nike contract, my NYAC sponsor, as well as prize money, which in track and field, we get paid once a quarter with your base salary, but then all your bonuses doesn't come until December. So it's a struggle. You have to really learn how to budget, and I've had some hard bumps along the way trying to figure it out. But now we're kind of like in another transition with the sport, where we're trying to rebuild the sport's popularity back in the U.S. Because we have world championships here in the U.S. next year in Eugene, Oregon. So put that on your calendar for 2021. It's
That's
our
a
first
big
time.
deal.
It's a big deal
Yeah.
because it's the first time we will hold world championships for track and field in the U.S. So it's kind of bringing back the love of track and field back home, because most of our meets are in Europe. So I've been really wanting to encourage people, let's go out to the track meets. If you see a local track meet, or if you see the track meet at home, like if you don't really want to watch all of it, you just want to watch me, just put it on, wash the dishes or something. But we need that support for our sport as we get ready also for the 2028 Olympic Games in LA. So we really want to build it up so our track athletes who are hometown heroes and role models can get that love and support and popularity for the chance to make more money, because everything is changing. Social media is very big, and we need that following and that support that gives us chances to earn money outside of the shoe companies and outside of the mainstream things by, your local businesses and things like that can help support local athletes.
Because there is no government support.
We have no government support. That's what the USA is different than everybody else in the world. We are on our own, but we represent our country. And it's hard. A lot of people don't make it as long as I have. And I've been very fortunate. I'm a rare story, especially in my event. So I've been told many times, well, you're not the premier event. No one wants to see girls throw these heavy balls in dirt. But I'm good at it. And I've done very well at it. And I represented my country at the highest level. But so one of my passions too is to help find other ways for young women to keep doing this sport, because in my sport, you don't start off as 18, 19-year-old at the top. It takes a little while. Our prime is in our late 20s, early 30s. And it takes time to get there, and you need that support. And a lot of women drop off before they even know how good they can be.
Any other questions? I'll take the last one. So I was wondering, earlier mentioning about the target on your back and all the pressure to do well this year. What do you do mentally and spiritually, get ready? Do you meditate or things like that, pray? What is your journey like for those things to keep strong?
Prayer is my number one, because listen, I talk to Jesus all the time. We have to talk, because I can get caught up in what everybody else expects and what the world wants me to do. But that isn't my number one goal. My number one goal is what God wants me to do and what He expects of me, what's His standard for my life. And I think 2016 really kind of refocused that for me, because right when, we started 2016 off with indoor world championships and indoor USAs. And I won. I threw the furthest I've ever thrown. And I'm like, ooh, 2016 is about to be off the chain. If I'm going this far in February, what's going to happen once June and July gets here? Can't nobody touch me. I was feeling myself on the inside just a little bit. And when I started having back issues, which was 3 weeks after winning indoor world championships, I was like, what? What's happening? What's going on? And I was struggling a little bit, because I'm like, here it is. I'm trying to make my third Olympic team. I'm the best I've ever been, and now I'm hurt. I have a herniated disc in my back. This is sometimes a career-ending situation for people, where I couldn't really feel my left foot, my left leg was going numb. I'm really having some issues. But that's when I did dig down in my faith even more, and I had to be reminded that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it took the power away from myself, because in that moment I was powerless. But I knew that I had another source of power to connect into. And that's what carried me throughout the season, because myself and my power, I am limited. I can only do so much. But I do get the chance to connect to a source that's greater than me, and He controls everything in my life. And so when I gave up that control and let Him work it out the way that He wanted to, I couldn't imagine life any better, because now I had this situation that happened. I had to work. People are talking about me, but I'm like, you know what? If I never touched a shot put from the day I got hurt until the Olympic trials, I believe that I had the strength because of God, that I could win the Olympic trials and still make the team. And then I also said, if I never touched a shot put from the Olympic trials to the Olympic Games, I could still win because of the kind of God I serve. And I just gave up that control and gave him that power over my life and let him work it out. It took all the pressure off of me. All I had to do was show up for the little things, go to practice, making sure I'm going to bed, making sure I'm going to treatment, making sure I'm giving him something to work with. I didn't want to sit there and like not do anything. I did what I could and let him figure out everything else. And I couldn't imagine the Olympic Games going any other way. And they had to be on my last throw, which was the theme of the year. I want everything on my last throw. But that's how he wanted it to bring glory to him and what he was able to do in my life versus what Michelle did for Michelle with Michelle's life.
Perfect way to Thank you. We're pulling for you. We believe, and I can't wait to see you in Tokyo.
Well, thank you all very much. Like, Channel 5 has been supporting me for so long, so I appreciate it.